It's not about who's toughest, it's about who's toughest the longest. So that means we don't relent. We keep coming after him, and keep coming after him, and keep coming after him, over and over and over again.
Now, if that doesn't get you fired up, I tell you exactly what will. As soon as the entire crew is on here, because I got one that may be a throwback here that you guys end up really enjoying. It is Eagles, Dallas, and especially Dallas week here, episode 107. We appreciate everyone coming in, tuning in tonight. We thank everyone to be here for the pregame party. We have our newest co-host, Jenn McGraw, is with us tonight. Matt Rogers, our Virginia correspondent. Dylan Spalding, our local Tampa correspondent, is here with us tonight. And, of course, the Godfather himself is there, DJ Montage, behind the video productions. And, of course, my lovely producer in the other room in Studio B. We are live from the LG Direct Sales Solutions Studios in beautiful Tampa, Florida, via also Philadelphia. And I can tell you this much. We are going to get hyped. I'm pretty sure Fuji's already running around in his underwear somewhere down the street by his house, and it's okay because that's the things that he does. But I tell you this much, folks, the reason why I got the glasses on tonight, because it is throwback night. And you'll understand why when everybody comes on, because this throwback will get you moving. Let's get the show started. I can't wait because this means a lot for the Philly fan base. We saw how the Eagles started. Let's see how they finish up the season. This is episode 107. I'm Angel. We are on Broad. And that would be the wrong one. That's things that happens when you go live. That's all right, though. But we got the right intro. And this intro is usually with Dean Gene, the dancing machine, other known as the Godfather. Fuji, what's going on tonight?
Tonight is the night down in the combat zone. The Cowpunks are in town. Angel, how are you? We got the crew tonight. We got the First Lady of Broad Street South, Jenn McGraw, officially. We got Matt from Virginia. We got Dylan down in Tampa. Rob behind the glass. How are you? Let's get the party rocking.
Yes, sir.
I'm hyped and let's go.
So am I. Believe me, I'm there with you. If I could be running around the roof, I could. But I will tell you this much. As we always say, it is about 80 degrees down here in Tampa. I know it's a cold night in Philly, but it's about 80 degrees down here in Tampa. And I am feeling beyond excited because, again, we're talking about the playoffs. Didn't expect it from Nick Sirianni, but if you believe in what these guys have been doing, then you can achieve. And with that being said, we will bring on, first of all, the newest co-host here, as you said, the First Lady co-host of Broad Street South. On with us is Jenn McGraw. Jenn, how are you this evening?
I am fantastic. You know, the Eagles started the season with a win. The Eagles are going to end their season with a win. They're getting their 10th win tonight. I don't care if Jalen Hurts is starting, if Gardner Minshew is starting, if whoever is starting. The Eagles are going to tear it up tonight. It might be about 20 to 30 degrees at the stadium, but those Eagles are bringing the heat tonight. I am so excited for the game. I'm just excited. I'm very excited.
Right, so are the rest of us, and I'll get your intro as soon as I start putting this stuff together. I'll get you your intro, just like I do that with Gene, the dance machine right above you. But along with that, our youngest member of the group, who started at the ripe old age of 9, so I keep making him younger and younger. So Dylan Spalding, down there, our local Tampa correspondent, and that boy Fuji.
Let's go! Listen, we gotta raise the flags here in Tampa Bay. Fire them cannons. Listen, a few months ago, I was asked if I'm building a ship in my backyard. Yeah, it's almost complete. We're set in sail. We left the baggage up in New York. He's up watching some Nets game probably. We're fired up here in Tampa Bay. Let's go. It's playoffs.
What kind of ship you building? It's going to go down. It's going to go down like the Titanic.
Hey, it's sturdy. We got that nice mahogany wood. You know, it's going to look pretty. And Tom Brady is setting sail with us down here.
It's going to say SOS when it gets hit with the cannonballs. With Brady at the helm and Arians going right down, going right into the ocean. It's going to hit that iceberg. when we play you next week.
That's right. Well, listen, let's hope that we do so. But in the meantime, let's bring in our Virginia correspondent, also from honorable mention, the one and only Matt Rogers. Matt, how are you this evening?
Hey, y'all. Thanks for having me on again.
Matty, how are you?
So Fuji, we're gonna have to give Angel a hard time next week when we play Tampa Bay. It's almost for sure that we're gonna play Tampa Bay, and so one way or the other, we're gonna have Angel at a parade in a few weeks, right? Right, Fuji?
Yeah, damn straight.
Listen, if there's any kind of parade that's going to happen, I'm going back home for that second parade, believe me, because I will not be at it. Even if Tampa Bay repeats again, I wasn't at the first one, and I sure as heck won't be at the second one.
I want you to turn in that Brady jersey and when that parade happens.
There is no, listen.
Fuji and I are going half on a Piat and make sure that we don't track you down at the parade.
Damn straight.
That's all right. Listen, that's all right. And by the way, Matt, great job with Devin Caney there this week on your honorable mention. That was really good show that you had on there this past week.
Thank you. Yeah. Devin is awesome. She's super busy. But sorry, something in my throat.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Ooh, that was weird.
That's a cowboy trying to come up.
Just trying to fire shots at you, Matty.
No, I'm not firing shots or slick.
Devin's awesome. Devin's been busy all day today. She's had the Philadelphia Wings, who are starting off with a good season. Now she's covering the Eagles, so exciting day.
She's a busy woman, that's for sure. And just like the rest of us here, end up doing the great things that we possibly can do to continue to make this show as successful as we possibly can. And I did mention, and I see the comments coming in, Tom Kelly, hang on for a second, and Sean, because I see you guys. As I stated on the opening intro, that I've got something that'll get everybody moving. And the reason why the glasses are on, because we're going to throw this back to 2017. And if everybody remembers this, everybody should be pumped after this one and jumping out of their seat.
This two-door Maybach with my seat on reclining. I'm like, what up? Yeah, what up? If you ain't about that murder game, then shut up. If you dip me in your ass, I get your pussy. Duck up when you touch down in my hood. No, that tour life ain't good. Cut me down to MIA. And then he gave my wood. With that put my life in my feet. Like that little engine I could. Boy, I slide down to your block. Bike on 12.
Now, I'll tell you this much. That year, 2017, everybody remembers because I was there at the NFC Championship game. And even though it seems a little premature here, I will say the feeling that I'm starting to feel right now is that magical run in 2017. And we hope that those wheels keep turning the way they are right now. The only thing that we need to see tonight is to make sure, even if the backups are in there, that the Eagles do not get a slow start in the first half as we've seen in many games now, and then the bigger second half. Because one producer of mine, she said, what about if Tampa and the Eagles end up matching up? What would it look like? And I said, well, they're both about equal, the same way with Dallas, because they haven't had these starts that they would like. So everyone, I hope they're all excited that they're getting ready for the game day. This should be really exciting tonight. Obviously, it's cold down here in Philly. It means absolutely nothing to Dallas because they've been down this road before here in Philly, so it doesn't matter. That cold stuff, just like Warren Sapp said years ago, brisk, brutal, it didn't matter. And Dylan, I think you might just remember that because at that point, all right, you might have been around at that point when Warren Sapp was around when he mentioned that. But as far as Meek Mill, I know you definitely don't know as far as that celebration, but it's okay. That's why I flashed up there for you, Dylan.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I need a little bit of a remembrance there for that, but I would be looking forward to this Tampa Bay Philly matchup next week. I think it's just going to be fun, especially for the podcast, and especially with me being the Tampa correspondent and you guys all, obviously supporting the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it'll be a definitely some heated rivalries, obviously, and fun, obviously. But I'm looking forward to it if this ends up being the case next week.
I hope so. I think it's going to end up happening. And Tom Kelly, once again, thank you. Welcome.
What's up, Tom? What's up,
one
Dave?
of our brothers here, David. High prediction: Flyers and Eagles are both not losing tonight. That's a good prediction. Tom, once again, great addition to the team, fellas. Can't wait to hear Jenn and the fellas get into this game. Once again, Tom Fogarty and Tara. What's up, you guys? How are you? And Sean states, what's up, guys? Thoughts on key players not playing like Hurts, Slay, Sweat, Dickerson, and Lane. Doesn't matter. Bring on the Cowgirls 21-14. Let's go Birds. And Chipper over there from Redline Radio from Steel City Renegades. Chipper, the Atlanta Braves fan who was able to celebrate a World Series. I hope you bring that mojo over here, Chipper. Evening. I hope that you're fine as well. But listen, as we get into it right now, we know it's been Dallas week. We saw what happened against the DCU team. And thanks to Matt showing up down there at FedEx Field is the reason why I say we're in winning last week. Because if Matt didn't show up, neither would the Birds. So, Matt, I want to get from you first, before I go around the table here, the feeling last week at FedEx Field. Obviously, the Eagles ended up coming back. We saw it was a nail-biter throughout the entire game. That momentum that you saw last week, do you see the same thing carrying this week tonight versus Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because you hear Sirianni talk about it, and you hear all the players talk about how Ian killed, and you see it from time to time when the screen gets out to Jalen, and how even if he's down or if he throws an incompletion or a pick, he stays so chill. And I was on the sideline, the visitors was behind the Eagle, and it was apparent that whole time, like you could tell that the team really felt, no matter how the team that they were going to figure out a way to do it. And that kind of the crowd, and we drive, I was pretty frustrated because Mr. and this to start off that drive, the alive, and then we just played on. But it was it's hard to say with the backups. I do think that Garner wants to show who he's got to throw to. Jackal and bet on Tyree Jackson getting a touchdown. So I'm hoping.
I don't know if you got to the very end of it or not, Matt. I know it's breaking up as far as a feed, but we got most of it. But it was breaking up there. It was freezing up just a little bit, just to let you know.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
No worries. It happens. Again, we go live, things happen. So it's no big deal. It could always end up being worse. So, Jen, we've seen obviously what the Eagles did against the Washington football team, also known here as DCU, which is the District of Columbia University, folks down there in DC, because they can't get the names done. There was a leak, though, that possibly their new name would be the Washington Admirals, only because of a website that redirected the people to the Washington Admirals first and then over to their volunteer site. So interesting to see if that turn out to be true. But this week, we know a lot of the stars are being sat down for obvious reasons because they want to keep everybody healthy. Hopefully, no one gets COVID within the next week or two here, so everybody can just stay healthy and stay fine mentally and taking that physicality out of their bodies. But this week, without having these starters in there, what can we expect here from the backup squad?
Yeah, that's a great question because I was one of the people that was like, as soon as I saw that Dallas announced they were starting their starters, I was like, we need to start our starters because we got to finish strong. This game is a game that we have to finish strong, regardless of if it means everything to us or means nothing to us. It's against Dallas. Of course, we have to finish strong. But as far as the secondaries go, I'm not worried. We've seen what they can do before throughout the season and in previous seasons. So I know for a fact that Gardner Minshew is going to light up the field tonight. And some of the secondaries, such as Greg Ward and some others, I know have played against Dallas earlier this season. And in fact, Greg Ward, actually did have a touchdown. So as long as they can bring that same energy tonight, I don't see an issue. I don't really see an issue with the secondary.
No, that should be good. And Fuji, before I get over to Dylan there, I know Dylan's not too much up when it comes to the Eagles, but I know we'll get into some Tampa talk as well. But only because the future could decide here, obviously coming down to Tampa, where the Eagles end up facing off against the Bucs. But Fuji, with the stars being out, you named it earlier before we went on air. One thing that we could see, again, referring back to last week and the weeks prior, it's been once those slow starts have kind of been killing this team, but the second half has been much better. The only problem is there's so much that you can run by doing that same design. And I'm going to ask the same thing when it comes to Dylan, because when it comes to Tom Brady and the Bucs, doing the same exact thing. So if we're fast forward, let's just say tonight, whether win, lose, or draw, we'll fast forward to the playoffs here just momentarily. What do the Eagles need to do as far as Nick Sirianni to keep making the necessary adjustments to not have such a slow start on the first half?
Well, like I said, like the last 2 weeks, I mean, you basically played down the Washington and the Giants, but I always say, no matter who's a great team and who's a bad team, division rivalries are always heated. But you can't come out flat in the first half. I don't care what people say. I mean, the Eagles were better to be lucky than good. And you can't come out against Tampa, the Rams, Dallas, or Arizona next week. Because you come out flat like that, guess what? You're going to lose unless you turn it up in the second half. But you got to play 60 minutes of smart football and consistent football.
Yep, that's absolutely true. And that's exactly what they need to do. And by the way, Dave Wallencheck, what's up, man? From Steel City Renegades and RedlineRadioLLC.com, along with the Steel City Renegades, that there'll be another show tomorrow night, which should be interesting because upon that, Pittsburgh is still looking to make the playoffs here. So stranger things have happened, and it could happen out there. So Steel City Renegades, check them out tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. Unless it's the 3-hour show tomorrow, then it's from 7 to 10 p.m. on Facebook, Steel City Renegades, and on the RedlineRadioLLC.com. So check out the website. They have music all the time. So you guys want to make requests, send it over to Dave. But Dave, what's going on? And Chipper says, so basically this game is for seeding, and that's pretty much what it comes down to, because if you really think about it, there's no other than, just like you said, Jen, this would be, for me, I would think I would still play the starters, even if you just play them for the first maybe 3 minutes or so. So even though you're going to play next week, the interesting part is we don't know when they're going to play next week, because there's now a 3-game weekend playoff. You got Saturday, Sunday, and then Martin Luther King Day on Monday, which I'm kind of surprised the NFL actually wanted to play on the holiday, because I personally, I thought it was a little more sacred for them not to do anything on MLK Day, but apparently I guess the NFL want to do things a little bit differently. I understand, because of the added addition to the wild card. But I don't know. It's the NFL. I guess you can throw money and supersede more important things if people want to celebrate on that Monday, which is kind of ridiculous to me. But again, that's just one man's opinion.
It's all about prime time and money, like you said.
Yeah.
They want those ratings. I mean, they're all about the almighty dollar. I mean,
yep.
And guess what? The NFL is the best product out there. They know how to sell themselves. I mean, hey, the NFL's here, and the other 3 major sports are below. That's how it is. It's what it is. So it's nothing like the NFL. Everybody can take all the other sports. Just give me the damn pigskin 365, 24/7. Like the USFL is going to be kicking off in a couple months, which the Philadelphia Stars already named their coach. So I'm ready for that as well.
Yeah,
but we can save that for another time. But
Chipper says, why can't the NFL play on MLK Day when NBA does? Two different. It is a good point. 2 different things. One is, I believe, if I remember correctly, prior to becoming an official holiday, I believe the NBA played on MLK Day, if I do remember correctly. And Matt, I don't know if you can remember back in some history as well. I believe the NBA had already had that set up prior to becoming a national holiday.
Yes, but I guess the point. I guess the point is, as long as they do something, show some respect for them. If they just play like it's a normal Monday night, I think that's would kind of veer into disrespect. But if they do something, especially something with like some community benefit, talk about like what the Eagles are doing right now and stuff and things like that, something like that, then I don't know.
No, well, hopefully they do. They at least, one is, you should, the honorable mention as coincidental there when it comes to your show, but there should be a mention. They should do something. If you're going to play on that day, make sure you do remember the reason why, not just because it's a national holiday, just because everybody gets the extra day off, just for what the man did for men, especially for black men and it's to encourage everyone to be equal. So it's just not, I know that a lot of people like to say it's just a black holiday. Martin Luther King did a lot of things for a lot of different ethnicities. It wasn't just one, it's those who believed. So let's not forget that more importantly. But hopefully, Chipper, that answers your question there. Sean says, you think Devontae Smith breaks Deshaun Jackson's record tonight, or they sit him even if though he wants to play? Good question. Good question. And I would think he would break the record tonight. I could be wrong, but I'll swing it over to Jen. I don't know if you want to get involved in that question as well, but I think he will break the record tonight.
Yeah, I think he would. I don't know. Is he? I didn't get a chance to see. Is he actually sitting, or is that still? Because I don't know if he's inactive.
I have the inactives, and it's Derek Barnett, Landon Dickerson, Javon Hargrave, Anthony Harris, Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Steve Nelson, Miles Sanders, Darius Slay, and Josh Sweat. So, no, believe Devontae Smith will be playing.
All right, then, yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't break the record. I mean, especially since he's one of the starters that is able to play and has been pretty good this season. I don't see why he wouldn't break the record tonight.
What's he need? 42 yards? Is that the number?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like 39, something like that.
Yeah, I believe so. And if he gets a touchdown, if I remember correctly, when we had Chris Cordy on Thursday night, he had mentioned would tie the record with CeeDee Lamb on his rookie year. So if he can score 2 touchdowns, he would do better off than CeeDee Lamb, which then raises the question still, as I asked beforehand, which one would be the better of the two? And I know for a while, Fuji, I know you like CeeDee Lamb. You thought the Eagles weren't going to do well enough with him going over to Dallas. To me, I still believe in my heart of hearts that the better of the two is Devontae Smith.
Well, it remains to be seen. I know Chris said the other night it's about even. Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner last year. So, the Eagles, to me, just have always drafted small receivers. I just like the big physical ones. So, which the Eagles just don't draft big receivers. I don't know why. It's been a philosophy going back to probably Andy Reid and before that, but we're not going to get into that general manager. I'll give him credit where it's due. I can't bash.
Guys, listen, don't rag your best friend. You guys talk to each other almost on a daily basis, so don't give me internet nonsense. That's your best friend.
If I have a conversation with that man, it would be for hours because I give him my 2 damn cents.
Well, we'll
be
see.
honest.
And Matt, before I get to Dylan here, what do you think of possibly someone from Atlanta rebuilding their career in Philly, also known as Calvin Ridley, if I remember correctly?
I'm excited about it. It's weird because to me it seemed like it came out of nowhere. Ridley to the would we say no? I mean, he's a great air runner. They would have teams would have to decide who they will. Very quick 50. Pretty big version of Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith will end up being the better player. Amazing opportunity. I think it seems that he was because he was dealing with some mental health issues down there in Atlanta. I don't want to minimize that because it's a real thing, especially with how he dealt with his stuff this year. But that's what here, and so we got all the draft capital and got all the room in the world. Yeah, get up number 1 or 2 wide receiver, have Devontae Smith down and make it happen.
Who's?
Yeah. I was just looking. Calvin Ridley's next year he'll be a free agent after 2023. So, I could see Howie pulling off some kind of deal just because you're getting Calvin Ridley in his last contract, and it's kind of like look at Alshon Jeffrey when Howie brought him in 2017. The rumor was originally he was supposed to go to Minnesota.
Right.
But for some reason, Howie did pull off his magic and sign Alshon Jeffrey to a 1-year deal, which take my hat off to the man. He, played with a torn rotator cuff and didn't even say enough. And, he got paid, he got paid, I believe, in 2018.
Right.
So he's fantastic in New Orleans. He doesn't have that pass the NFC.
Yeah, that is true. Well, listen, all we need is Fuji to get on the phone with his best friend. We'll take care of business. And we're not worried about it. So it's fine. Now, going over to Dylan here on the Tampa side, same thing, Dylan, when it comes down to Tom Brady. You saw the game last week with the Jets pretty much almost beating up on the Bucs. The Bucs turn around along with the AB saga. And speaking of AB, which I don't know the complete story, but it's probably the nastiest thing that I've ever heard in my life, that I don't know what's involved, whether it was paid, not paid, whatever the case may be, but he had someone lick the toilet bowl. And then the comment afterwards was, you think that was crazy? Wait to see what happens tomorrow. So prior to the game on Sunday, apparently AB was with somebody. Don't know who the person is exactly at this point, but there was a dare, and the dare came in the licking of the bowl. And then he said what he said. And then obviously we saw what we saw last week on the field. So with that being said, Tom Brady once again pulls a miracle out of his hat and is able to bring the Bucs back against the Jets. Now, we've seen slow starts again, Dylan, and we know there's injuries. Right now, the Bucs are plagued with injuries. We get it. We understand it. Like any other team in the NFL. The difference is TB12 continues to find ways to come back. I know there's something that Fuji doesn't like to hear, but it's okay because we have Jalen Hurts that could become over time the same exact way. But I like to get at least your thoughts the same way. Will the Bucs at this point, and I know they're not planning on resting majority of their starters, but what will they need to do in order to become at least more playoff ready? Because they know next week they have to play. They unfortunately not get the best record in the NFL, or at least on the NFC side. It belongs to Aaron Rodgers. But I would like to know your thoughts as far as what is going to be needed in order for them to achieve a second Super Bowl run.
Well, I think the big thing is, and I really think heading into this game, even though, it's Carolina, and Carolina is at the point where we don't know what Carolina is right now. There's no identity with that team. But if you look at Carolina right now, I mean, this game between Carolina is actually a big game for us, because if you think about it, the big point for the Buccaneers right now is, what is their mentality? What is their state of mind heading into this game? All week, it's been about AB. I've been listening to press conferences from Bruce Arians and such, because this has really been a controversial week for the organization. AB has made some, obviously, comments about the organization, saying we've been covering stuff up, and it's honestly become a he said, she said, which is hilarious, because Keyshawn Johnson even said it in an ESPN broadcast, and we obviously know what Keyshawn Johnson has done with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's caused a lot of controversy, but not to the extent of Antonio Brown. I mean, this week has been crazy, from a rap song that he posted. He's got a rap music video that's going to be coming out on Monday. I mean, it is literally a movie we are watching with Antonio Brown right now. But aside from that, right now, I think this is a big game to see where the mentality is for, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster. Obviously, as you mentioned, there are a few players out. JPP is going to be out. Shaq Barrett's going to be out. Those are going to be two very big pieces for this team heading into the playoffs to see where they're going to be at with their injury process. But I mean, if you're Tampa Bay, I just think, play a clean game, get out to an early lead and try to be able to sit some of those offensive and defensive players, those starters who you might need in the playoffs. Because I think if you could get out to an early lead and be able to, kind of let Tom Brady sit on the bench in the second half and allow Blaine Gabbert to come in, I think that's going to be crucial for the Bucs and heading into the postseason. Because I think if you have a nice win heading into the postseason, it definitely gives you momentum and also kind of sets aside all that AB drama that you had to deal with this week.
Yeah.
Got it, Angel.
No, that's absolutely true. But I do have the article before you get into your question there. So apparently This is coming from the Daily Beast, and it says the Antonio Brown snuck an infamous OnlyFans model into his hotel room for a tryst the night before a meltdown that saw him disrobe and walk off the field during a game. Ava Louise, 23, met up with the Buccaneers wide receiver, 33 years old, at his hotel room at the Jersey City Westin on Saturday night in an apparent violation of NFL isolation rules. According to the Daily Mail, Louise is perhaps best known for filming herself licking a toilet seat in a proclaimed bid to catch COVID-19 in 2020 and become immune. Louise, also who snuck past hotel security, said Brown told her, "F the NFL, I can't wait for you to see what I do tomorrow." So again, the guy just surrounds himself with stupidity and everything else. And I know initially everybody talked about his mental awareness and his mental health, which he still needs it. I'm not taking that away as far as when it comes to AB, because he does need mental health check. And I'm not saying it as a bad thing or anything else. He just needs to really start checking himself and find out what's going on, because his family was really upset with what he did. So I just don't understand that. That to me is utterly disgusting and makes absolutely no sense. But he continues to hurt himself more in the long run. And then supposedly today, Dylan, the Tampa Bay Bandits, who are coming back with the USFL, I believe, already reached out to him and said, "Hey, by the way, if you want to win a championship with us, you can do it." And basically, once again, AB had told them a whole different thing. Basically, like, "Nah, bro, I'm good. You know, I'm not doing anything." I guess when it comes to USFL, I mean, the guy just cannot stay out of the limelight, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So, if you guys catch a story, you got to see it because it's absolutely insane. But we'll see. Tom says AB is a new TO, which is true, and AB hasn't been the same since he births a hit, which is true. Sean brought that up not too long ago. And Tom says that AB is pissed off because he's not making Gronk money. Well, you know what? You were able to win a Super Bowl, something that you weren't able to do in Pittsburgh. If I remember correctly, you were able to do it right with Tampa Bay and almost had the opportunity if they make the run again. So guess what? You snooze, you lose. I don't know what else to say, but hey, just overall, as his shenanigans are stupid, as a man, you need help.
But I want to. People have brought that up, T.O. and Antonio Brown, and as an Eagles fan, you know you're not going to convince me that Terrell Owens is the best guy in the world. But T.O. never did this kind of stuff. Right. He never. T.O. was annoying. T.O. would maybe get under your quarterback's skin. But T.O. never did things that endangered your players, that tried to throw your GM under the bus. And to be honest, T.O. was a much better football player than Antonio Brown's ever been. So yeah. I don't like that being thrown around.
Oh, T.O. never got in trouble with the law either. I mean,
no vaccine.
I mean, only one was the damn ball. And the guy played on a broken leg 6 weeks later, who should have been the MVP.
Right.
That owned this town, not McNabb, but T.O. did.
Now, if I do remember correctly, this week, and Jen, I don't know if you heard the story as well, but I do believe it was T.O. It wasn't. I know he was in Atlanta for something else, but ended up doing a workout, and I'm almost certain he was reaching out to Dylan, if I remember correct as well, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's actually official that T.O. was trying to join back up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I don't know if that would actually happen or not. He's like almost 50, I think it was. I think he's like 48 right now. I mean, he's probably still in great shape. I can't imagine. I mean, you look at guys, I mean, you see Mike Tyson still boxing, and it's actually, speaking of boxing, funny enough, I saw a Twitter post by Brooks Koepka, PGA golfer, and he had posted the best post, and I had said this to one of my friends here recently, and I said this to him. I said, I just feel like Antonio Brown's going to do something so stupid, and he's going to go and box like Jake Paul or Logan Paul and do something just so out of there. But it honestly feels like this is going to be something that actually could happen in the future. Like, he's just going to do something so out there, because that's honestly what he's became. He's became almost a media sensation, like a media star, if you will. He's almost became bigger than the NFL in his sense, in his mindset.
Ain't nobody bigger than the NFL.
And I agree.
No, and it's true. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can go over to fanatics.com, get himself a couple of jerseys, some retirement gear. Who knows? He may go over there and pick up some merchandise and check, take a look for an updated sale. But hey, whatever. It's it's incredible to me how you can have a star-studded career. And first of all, you started with one of the better franchises ever in the NFL with Pittsburgh. And how do you screw up something so bad? I want to say the other word, but how do you screw up something so bad just from all your stupid shenanigans that have gotten you to where you are right now? So I honest to God, I don't get it. Again, I hope he gets the help that he possibly needs, but he has to do it himself. Obviously, the Bucs tried to have him come in so he can go to an outside doctor to make sure that he was okay, looking at his ankle and everything else. He decided not to do it. Did his own thing, went up to the state of New York to a game out there, a basketball game. So I just don't get it. But
Angel, one last thing here.
Sure.
You said Dylan said it's like a movie, and there's one detail of the Antonio Brown story that we didn't talk about because it's a family-friendly program. But as you read through, there's more to that story that we didn't get into. But yes, it was very irresponsible.
It was. Well, and also, when you look at it, and I'll bring up Jordan Spector here and momentarily again, we did hear from, which is a rare Thursday, but I would say press with the staff out there in Tampa Bay, that obviously Bruce Arians had talked about. And I don't know exactly if this is what you're relating to here, Matt, but so Bruce Arians comes out and he says, according to whatever had happened, and a matter of fact, I do have the video, so I don't want to put words in my own mouth. So I rather bring up the video, and so everyone can see exactly what Bruce Arians, his statement was on AB this past Thursday.
Obviously, we let Antonio go today. Just to clear you up on some things that happened. At no point in time during that game did he ever ask the trainer or doctor about his ankle. He never went through. That's the normal protocol. You go through protocols during games. I was never notified of it. So obviously that was the disturbing thing when we were looking for him to go back into the game. All right, we always had, he was very upset at halftime about who was getting targeted. Got that calmed down. Players took care of that. It started again on the sideline. We called for the personnel group that he had played in the entire game. He refused to go in the game. That's when I looked back and saw him basically wave off the coach. I then went back, approached him about what was going on. I ain't playing. What's going on? I ain't getting the ball. That's when I said, "You're done. Get the F out of here." And that's the end of it. And we're working on Carolina. That's the end of the story. And hopefully it ends today.
So, Matt, what did you think of that?
I thought that it was very believable. I think that everybody knows that he was looking to play on he was looking to cash in on those incentives, and he needed a certain number of targets, certain number of catches. It's really his fault. I mean, he's mad at everybody else, but the truth is, the Oakland Raiders, when they were still the Oakland Raiders, threw everything at him. And he has no business at this point even being in the situation where you need to play for incentives, play on your last possible contract. John Gruden and Mike Mayock were trying to give him the world. And then because of a helmet, and then because of this, and because of that, and because he wants to make movies with toilet bowl people. I mean, it's just
the Toilet Bowl man.
This is where he's at now. He's getting offers from XFL, and he's probably going to have a podcast. He's going to be going on McAfee soon. I mean, it's about to be really it's just a shame. And honestly, it's sad because, mental health, the awareness of mental health problems in our country is really, they're not talked about enough. Right. But also the access to it. He's one of the few people who truly have access to what he needs. But the main thing is you have to know that you need to seek it. And he's apparently not seeking it.
Yeah, that's why I'll agree with you wholeheartedly, because it's true. A lot of people don't, there's signs, there's things that happen and people tend to ignore the signs, or they knew someone who needed help and stood quiet because they were like, well, it wasn't really, it didn't affect me. Well, it does affect you, because eventually it's going to affect everyone around you one way or the other. So I hope, just like you, Matt, I hope that he does reach out and he does have, you can't get any better as far as doctors or anything else, other than if you work inside DC itself. But as far as the NFL, you have the prime of the prime, because when I was in the service, I know we had the best of the best. I will say that much. So if you need any kind of help, that's where you got it from, as far as when it came to the government. So I hope that he does well for himself and he continues to get better. But getting back here, as far as when it comes to the Eagles, and we know, again, a lot of the stars are going to be sat tonight. So it's a shame, because we hope for this win end up happening. But Jen, I want to fast forward here to next week. We know that Jalen Hurts has been a lot of the talk this year, when it was talked about that, will he be the quarterback of the future? We've talked about it numerous times here on the show. What will he do? Is he getting better? Now everyone is starting to become getting on the Jalen bus, because they're starting to see the qualities that he have and what he possesses, and he takes every single responsibility upon himself. So looking into next week, what do we see coming out of Jalen Hurts? Is it more of running out of the pocket, which hopefully the offense will take care of that before the playoffs start? But do we see at least a more concentrated, I guess I would say, by Jalen Hurts, or do we see more of the same?
I want to hope to see more concentration, because he knows what's at stake now. I know he feels the pressure. I know he's not thinking about it right now, obviously, because it's a one game at a time mentality. But obviously, there's some pressure in the back of his mind, the same as head coach Nick Sirianni. So we definitely want to see more concentration from him, and I'm sure he can deliver that. It's going to be really interesting to see who he goes up against, because that'll help determine what kind of offense that we're going to see. Hopefully, no matter what, we're going to see 60 minutes of proper football, of clean football on both sides of the ball for the Eagles. But hopefully we can see Jalen Hurts in a more concentrated state, still doing the balanced offense, still doing what works, because obviously with that pressure, he's gonna make some mistakes. We're going to see him make mistakes next week. There's no doubt. But we definitely want to see him concentrating, tweaking making adjustments of what's going to work and what's not going to work, and hopefully just see overall a balanced and clean offense no matter who we go up against.
All right. And Matt, I know you have to cut out here shortly. I want to get your thoughts as far as, I gave Jen there Jalen Hurts. So and Tom had mentioned, let me go back to his comment here, when it came to Jason Kelce. He said he keeps his consecutive game streak going. Now, I want to ask you before you go away, are we hoping that we will see at least a couple more years of Jason Kelce, or is this the last time we're going to see him at the Link?
I doubt that. I think he loves being an Eagle too much for us to. I think it's all exciting, and I don't want to be a buzzkill here. I don't think that this is the 2017-ish year. I think this is like a super 2016 year, like Carson's first year, where we were kind of a team that was like overperforming, giving good teams a scare. I think next year is that 2017 kind of year where you have the opportunity to go and spend in free agency, to go upgrade through the draft, go get guys on 1 year prove it deals, build around your quarterback that you got in the draft on the cheap contract, and go make a run. And I think it'll be really easy for Nick and for Jalen and for Lane and all those folks to convince him to come back. Maybe next year would be the last year, but I think he would have been way more clear on it. Like, if this was going to be his swan song, he would have told us. I think he loves the city way too much. He needs a goodbye tour. I mean, like Kobe Bryant had. Yeah. Jason Kelce deserves that.
Yes, he's all Philly. He is all Philly through and through. And I hope the Walter Payton Man of the Year comes his way. So we'll see how it ends up working out. But Matt, again, I know you have to jump off here. Please let the fine folks know where they can find you, and especially your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Honorable mention. I know the other people have taken that. It's fine. I didn't copyright it. Honorable mention, just type in honorable mention Matt Rogers. You can also find me on Twitter at Politidope, POLITIDOPE. That's also my Instagram name. You You can find me on Instagram at _mention_podcast. And you can find me on here because I'll be back.
Yes, sir. All right, Matt, listen, I appreciate it. And have a great night. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Problem. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Exactly. Fly, Eagles, fly. And we have someone new here, Jason Joseph. Welcome to the show. And he says, hi, guys. My name is Jason, first-time listener here. And how would you assess Jonathan Gannon's season? And do you think he'll be back next season? I think the perfect person to relay this to is the man above Jenn there. So the Godfather, why don't you take that one?
I mean, I know there's rumors swirling that, Jonathan Gannon could be head coaching material. I know Nick Sirianni's has touched on it in his press conferences. But, hey, you never know. I mean, he's stepped up the defense since week 8. This defense, I believe, has only given up maybe a total of 18 points really since then. So, these new young coaches, I mean, Nick Sirianni being 39, 40 years old, seem to be the hot commodity. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, you got the Jaguars, the Bears will probably be firing Matt Nagy come Monday, or there's a couple, sure it'll be a good amount of openings. Carolina possibly.
Right.
Hey, you just never know. There's always somebody that'll be, if not, he might get an interview at least.
I'm quite sure.
Thought of it.
Yep, I'm quite sure. And speaking about it in honorable mention, how about this gentleman here, Wayne Henderson? Fly, Eagles, fly. And if it's the same Wayne that I'm thinking of,
Wayne?
It would be from the Packers Fan Podcast. You guys see up there on the screen. Those guys do an amazing job. If you're a Green Bay fan, I will tell you this much. Take a listen to the Packers Fan Podcast because they do a fantastic quality job. And we've known each other now. It's been, 2 years, I guess, at this point, Fuge, when it comes to Wayne and his group?
Yeah, Wayne came on last year with his partner, and they, during, I believe, the Packers game last year. Actually, the first game, Jalen Hurts, I believe, when he took over for Carson Wentz.
Right. And we still
half.
Yeah.
In the second half of that game.
We end up liking to share this content because those guys put amazing work together. I mean, so everyone check it out. Packers Fan Podcast. You guys can see them on Twitter and then go to the link. It's right on the profile at PackersFanPodcast.com.
Thanks for checking in, Wayne. We appreciate it.
Tom says, welcome, Jason. Al. Al, go Birds. Go to the show, fellas. Al.
Checking in.
Yes, sir. Welcome. And speaking of their DJ Montage, speaking of Al, Edge of Philly Sports. And I'll wait for DJ Montage there to kind of click around so we can bring up right here. So let me add this here to the screen. Al and Tom Kelly, as long as things switch over. Why didn't it switch over? Add to the stream. It should be there. There we go. All right. So Edge of Philly Sports by Al, Tom Kelly. Those guys put on an amazing show. Great content. If you guys want to, again, stay local, keep it local. As far as when it comes, I would say to the Eagles, because they do go around as well. So they don't just stay local, but they do a great coverage with the 4 for 4 as far as in Philadelphia. If you guys want to check them out, Edge of Philly Sports. They do an amazing job. So Al, thanks for tuning in. The same way with Tom, we saw him earlier. I hope you guys have much more success here in 2022 and keep up the great content. I want everyone to check out, please, when you get the chance, Edge of Philly Sports. Tom says, great show tonight. Thanks, Tom, and we appreciate it. And also with that, DJ Montage, if you don't mind there, in pretty much now as a family here together, we also like to welcome, as we did with Jenn on Thursday, and our newest sponsor now, PhillySportsTrips.com. Also involved with Edge of Philly Sports. So it becomes just like a big old family here. If you guys want to travel with the pros, you're looking for a great package. By the way, they're hoping to put a package together here to come down to Tampa. Reach out to PhillySportsTrips.com. On Twitter, if I do remember correctly, it is PHLY Sports Trips, and you guys can reach them as well through that. On Instagram, it's just Philly Sports Trip. Same way you can do it on Facebook. But go to PhillySportsTrips.com. Thank you to Vince for coming on board with us. We do appreciate it. Along the same way, Edge of Philly Sports. So it's going to be, that is like pretty much like a perfect marriage. The same way with the first lady here. So it makes it just all the better. But I would like to get your thoughts as well as when Jason had asked the question, Jenn, as far as Jonathan Gannon, do you believe he's coming back next season?
Well, first of all, I do have to shout out Jason because he and I actually go to school together. So I invited him to come listen tonight. So, hey, thank you for listening. But to answer your question too, we kind of talked about this before a lot with Jonathan Gannon and the struggle that he had in the beginning of the season up until about week 8. So I do see him coming back next season. I kind of see the head coach, Jonathan Gannon and Jalen Hurts all coming back next season just because we're in this good position that we are now. It does matter how we got here, but it doesn't really matter in retrospect how we got here. It's the matter that we got here. So I feel like they definitely deserve their jobs, at least for another season. And then if the same kind of things happen, if Jonathan Gannon isn't really performing up to par next season, then we can have that conversation there.
Well, good stuff. I think so. I think he'll be back. I mean, barring, like everyone's saying here, that unless he does get a nod somewhere, it would be interesting to see if he does. I will see. Jason says, thanks, Jen. But yeah, and thanks once again, Jason, for tuning in. We do appreciate it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, if and all, this entire staff comes back next year, because again, there's some vacancies that are going to happen. We know it. There could be one in Chicago. Supposedly, Chicago had stated to Matt Nagy they may not end up bringing him back, which is not something that Chicago normally does because they always wait until that Monday to let somebody know. So, but if they told Matt, then I guess maybe the only thing they're playing for tomorrow is pride at this point. And we'll see what happens even with Nick Foles, because that would be interesting as his contract is slowly coming to an end with the original deal from Jacksonville. So we'll see. Could there be some sort of crazy reunion? Who knows? We've yet to see exactly what ends up happening. But Dylan, before we sign off here tonight, can you give us the scenario, if you do happen to have it, that we would end up coming to Tampa and take over Ray J?
So basically right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are currently the number 7 seed right now as we speak. We're the number 3 seed as we speak. The way it would work is if the Eagles were to win tonight against Dallas, obviously they would stay at the number 7 seed because San Francisco still got the edge right. Well, actually, I apologize. They will move up, but it will depend still on San Francisco's game tomorrow. So if San Francisco wins, then that means the Eagles will still stay at the 7 seed. So for Tampa, they would have to hope that the Rams obviously lose, and then that means that we would also play the Philadelphia Eagles heading into next week. So that's going to be the big thing to watch out for. So basically what would have to happen is Tampa would have to win their game. The Rams would have to lose to the 49ers, and Philly would have to win as well. Or they could also lose, which I hope they don't lose for the sake of you guys tonight. Hopefully they do end up winning, because I think all of us in the NFL dislike the Cowboys in some way, shape, or form. Even down here in Tampa, we very much dislike the Dallas Cowboys. So I am rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight, though. Heading into next week, it's going to be maybe a different story possibly. But we'll see, and only time will tell. And, hey, maybe it'll be the NFC Championship game, Eagles versus Bucks for a Super Bowl spot.
Well, you've said the right thing. No. We all got one thing in common.
Now, I will say –
and the Dallas Cowboys.
But I will say this much. No one, he didn't mention it, but he did mention it to me prior to us going on air. So what Fuji has promised is he's going to do what Howard Eskin did, was to walk down to Tampa. And so Fuji said that if the Eagles pull off the victory, Tampa ends up winning, we end up playing each other, he will start walking tomorrow from his house, so he came down here about a game come next week. So that'd be interesting. Fuji, great job by you. And what fundraiser are you using for that one?
I don't know. I got to think about that one. I'm working on it.
All right.
Any suggestions? Any suggestions? Throw them in the
Tom Brady Trust Fund.
Tom Brady's got more money than. Forget it.
That might be a tough one there. And but Tom says that he believes that Doug Peterson goes to Jacksonville. I would think so with Jacksonville, and or there could be a great probability that he could end up in Chicago because he's made multiple appearances in Chicago. So Tom, maybe, because I would think that if Bruce Arians decided to call it quits pretty much at the end of this year and he decides to walk away, I think Byron Leftwich ends up taking over for Tampa Bay. But if he decides not to, and he's been grooming Byron Leftwich to become the head coach, and Dylan, you're shaking your head because we believe, at least it's true down here, that then if BA stays around, that means that Byron Leftwich goes to Jacksonville.
Well, I mean, Jacksonville's interviewed Bill O'Brien, Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson, I believe one other candidate, but don't forget too, about nobody's talking about Seattle, but the rumors of Pete Carroll may step down if Russell Wilson gets traded.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 71 years old. I think,
Yeah.
I think he's tired of coaching and, maybe he just wants to retire and enjoy his life. And I'm sure there's going to be other coaching vacancies coming up too.
Yep.
I mean, rumor about David Coley maybe getting fired in Houston after just 1 year, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Tom's got a message up there for you, Fuge. Says, I guess I'll be walking with you. I'm already down here, so unless I end up meeting him halfway and coming back, but that's all right. But Al comes in with a great zinger here where he says the TV trust fund is called Giselle.
Yeah, true. No, she handles that trust fund.
She sure
then
does.
Again, I'm sure she makes more money than him.
Oh, I'm quite sure. I mean, she, even with the stuff that she's done before in her past, I mean, she still gets paid royalties from a lot of stuff she's done. So yeah, I mean, listen, both of them will never have anything
basically
to worry
runs
about.
runs that outfit.
Right. It's all right. It's smart dude. I will say him that much. Smart dude. I know originally it was a little rough, but they worked things out. They got a beautiful family, and we'll see. I saw a screen up there with JC Newman, and then DJ Montage ends up taking away. If you can bring that back there, DJ Montage, I'd appreciate it. There you go. So a quick mention here to JC Newman Cigar Company, right out here in beautiful Ybor City, right outside of Tampa, Florida. So if you guys come down, I want you guys to take the tour at JC Newman Cigars. It is a fantastic tour. You get to learn everything about JC Newman himself. And then, of course, Bobby Newman, who ended up taking over along with his brother. And they explain the history behind JC Newman Cigars. And they have helped out so much within not only Tampa, but they've also built a school in assistance with overseas to help us to make sure that the kids are able to get educated, food, clothing. I mean, they do an amazing job. So if you guys take the opportunity, please go to jcnewmancigars.com. Take a look at the tour. Even if you come down for the Tampa game that we're hoping it's going to happen, take the tour while you're down here. It is not disappointing. It's a great place to visit. But on top of that, of course, if it does happen, I want everyone, just like we had the Philly of the South gang out there tonight at Tampa Joe's, 9316 Anderson Road. And if you guys come down, it's a short hop right off the runway. Matter of fact, you can walk off the edge of the runway and you're at Tampa Joe's. That's how close it is.
Sweet.
So it's a 10-minute drive from the airport. So please, if you're coming down to TPA, stop by Tampa Joe's or visit tampajoes.com. That way you know exactly what to order before you get here. So there should be a travel package maybe coming up soon. I don't want to let anything out because everything, again, it could be upon what ends up happening. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. So
I want to know if I could put my food order in for Tampa Joe's when I come down.
Well, that you could probably end up doing. And if not, while you're doing that, you can also bring a cigar down from Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist out there at 250 West Ridge Pike in beautiful Royersford, Pennsylvania. So you know what? Matter of fact, DJ Montage could probably drop off a package there to the house and bring some celebratory cigars down here. Me, you, Jen, Dylan, we're all end up. Well, sorry, Dylan, you're underage, so I can't give you any. Give you any cigars. We can give you any candy cigars. Yeah, because you have to be
a case
how old?
Of beer, my man. You don't have to be 21 to drink.
Yeah. Okay.
For all those underage.
Oh boy! But also, we also thank in the special media partnership that we have with BigSargeSports.com. Again, BigSargeSports.com. He has his podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We guys want you to go to Big Sarge Sports, as you can see there, with a Z, not with an S. If you do, it takes you somewhere different, somewhere where you don't want to be. Put it that way. So BigSargeSports.com. Check out his material. He's also with Andy Kalu. This week, he was on with them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Chris Cordy, who we just had on this past Thursday, in the trenches from 10 a.m. to 12 Central Standard Time on the East Coast from 11 to 1. Check out In the Trenches with Big Sarge Sports and check out his content on BigSargeSports.com. By the way, I tried to get him on because he's a huge Dallas fan, but I'm pretty sure he's home getting ready to celebrate. In that, I think I gave him enough stuff. But also remember there, Big Sarge, if you happen to hear a replay on this, Green Bay is still your daddy. Just remember that. So everything goes to Green Bay.
Everything goes. Double check.
Exactly.
For all
also,
those Cowboy fans out there.
We also like to thank LGDirect.net. Thank you to Larry Gilman, of course, the naming of the studio here, the LG Direct Sales Solution Studios down here in Tampa, Florida. But you can visit LGDirect.net if you guys need payment solutions or apparel, as you can see right there on the screen. If you need something custom made, reach out to lgdirect.net. We do appreciate their love, their support, and we thank Larry, and we hope that he's doing well here during the holidays. I know he's a very busy man, hard to get a hold of, but we hope that Larry and his entire crew are doing just fine. Also, to the Steel City Renegades, again, tomorrow night from 7 to 9, unless it happens to be a 3-hour show tomorrow night. But from 7 to 9, come check us out. I am the co-host. Figured that one out for a Pittsburgh game, but I bring the Philly flair over to there. So check them out at redlineradio.com. redlineradio.com. No, not with the AB jersey.
Got that AB Pittsburgh jersey stashed there at the Tampa Bay Bucks.
No. So, funny guy, but no, it doesn't happen that way. But no, doesn't happen. So,
McLeod, I miss you.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, thanks again to PhillySportsTrips.com. You're such a smart guy. Thanks to Vince and the crew for coming on board with us. And look for the travel package again. Travel with the pros with PhillySportsTrips.com. The one last thing here, 2 comments that I did see that Tom said, does Tampa Joe's do DoorDash? Yeah, they do, actually. Bring it up to Philly. Well, you want to bring it up to Philly, that might be a longer trip there, Tom, but I'll mention it to them. Maybe they'll end up airmailing it or something else. But listen, to everyone else, we hope that everyone enjoys the game tonight. We do appreciate Matt Rogers coming back on with us again, the Virginia representative. Dylan Spalding, once again, who started out his podcast at the young age of 5 years old. We do appreciate the Flow Show there, pod, with Dylan. But Dylan, when is your next episode? Let the people know, of course, as always, where they can find you.
So right now we are doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. That is our current schedule. Obviously, baseball is not going on, so it might be altered a little bit as the lockout progresses. I'm in lockout mode right now. We're right now for baseball, but you guys can find us anywhere you can find your podcast: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think, I don't know. They kicked us off on Apple Podcasts for some reason. That was kind of strange. Anyways, but you can check us out on and pretty much anywhere you can find your podcast. You can also check us out on YouTube as well. Check out my Instagram, The Flow Show Pod. We're posting hopefully Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But again, with baseball season and a lockout, it's been kind of a little bit of bland. But we do have a lot of baseball news here this past week with K-Rod, apparently the new Manning type cast for baseball. I'm looking forward to that. And Ken Rosenthal got released from MLB Network, which is very unfortunate.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Hashtag MLB is destroying baseball right now.
You're not kidding. Wow. Well, that goes to show you how much I paid attention this week, because I didn't even know that. That's a shame.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Great commentator. I'm busy there.
Doing down there, man?
I'm busy doing production here in the studio.
Yeah, we're all busy.
Exactly. Smart guy. But that's right. And of course, the first lady co-host here at Broad Street South, Jenn McGraw, please let the fine folks know how they can find you and your content as well.
Absolutely. So you can find me on all social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, but mostly Twitter and Instagram at Jennifer McGraw _. It's the same for all social media, as well as you can find me on Sports Illustrated, where I do a lot of coverage for the University of Connecticut football, as well as Sports Talk Philly, where I am the Eagles columnist. I do weekly preview games for each of the matchups, as well as other lifestyle things that come up in Philly sports.
All right. And then you guys know you can find the Godfather usually at some spaghetti bowl. Sometimes he's over at what's that famous restaurant there? The Olive Garden. That's where you can, most of the time, that's where you can find the Godfather.
I don't eat that fugazi food.
That's what it is. Sean, thank you for the comment. Great show, guys. We appreciate Go Birds. As I've gotten the icon a lot better since the first time when I screwed up and I said the turkeys, but it's all right.
You should admit it.
Go Birds. Of course.
You should admit it.
That's right. Hey, it screws up. That's what happens. But I will leave everyone with this, and we will not be back here at the half. We will be back here next Thursday for the Thursday preview playoff show. So most of the gang you see here right now will be back with us and add some more, maybe even Al there. Go Birds. Al, just to let you know, there could be a playoff preview. Me, you, the Godfather up there, Tom Kelly, we'll throw something together, make it really, really nice for everyone. So Philly sports. So Go Birds. And I will leave everyone with the same dreams and nightmares that we hope that we do tonight with Dallas. So we will see you all next week, next Thursday night, 8:00. Stay tuned. Oh, one more comment coming in here. Jason says, thanks, guys. Great show. Appreciate you, Jason, for tuning in. And please come back anytime. And come Thursday night, the phone lines will be open as well. So if you guys want to call in, please call in. So everyone, for my producer, Debbie over at Studio B, for Jenn, Dylan, Fuji, and DJ Montage as to raising the flags. I knew it was coming. But raising the flags by Dylan Spalding. Everyone, we will see you next week. Let me bring this back up here and leave you with some dreams tonight.
If you ain't about that murder game, then shut up. If you did me in the rest, I get your pussy stuck up. When you touch down in my hood, no, that tour life ain't good. Kept me down in MIA, and then he gave my wood. With that put my life in my feet, like that little engine I could. Boy, I slide down in your block, like on 12.
There you go. All right, everyone, enjoy the game. Hopefully this is Victory Monday coming up. Until then, we will see you all come next week. And go Birds indeed as we close it out here right with this here.